Then he left. Hi, Kathleen, and to whom may concern, this is Kuczi, Michael Kuczi. I'm calling to inform you that I thought it best that you be informed directly that someone who sounded like your dad, or maybe Heather Wade, or maybe somebody else in the Belgab inner circle of trust, called me using vocoder software to make it sound like you from your number, and tried to proposition me into a 3-day getaway that I was supposed to be delighted to pay $800 for. Now, I don't know how many of you are in on the gang. Hi, Kathleen. I don't know what you say to these people. I don't know how the organizational structure works. I don't know if your dad routinely tries to pimp you out, or if you ask to do it, or if you just sound like your dad when you're trying to solicit me for a 3-day getaway that I pay for. But after I indicated that I should be paid, and that I didn't know why this would be happening, and I wasn't sure I was talking to, the person said, well, I've known you for 30 years, and then quickly got off the phone. Which is exactly what somebody who's pretending to be you would have to do, since no one can pretend to be you since I've known you. And I'm eager to find out who these people are who are abusing vocoders up, whether it's Belgab or your dad in culture, or the government trying to do something clever. In any case, we don't have that kind of a relationship. We never had. We've never spent more than a day and a half together. And the one time that we did, I woke up to find that you had been possessed by a prosecuting attorney who was trying to pretend that he wasn't actually there. Since I guess his plan was to take over your body and then jump into my body while I was sleeping, and then he couldn't. And then he couldn't get out. And then he found out how hard it is to think what is in your body. Then he left after I recorded him and then put him on my little YouTube show. Courtesy of the Magic and Broadcasting Content Movie Network. So since this is all hush-hush, I'm not going to publicize it, but I thought about it some, and I thought I'd make it clear. I don't need to give you money to have fun with you. I wouldn't mind getting away with you, but it kind of depends on circumstances. Additionally, it depends on what the Birmingham Municipal Court's going to decide. And on top of that, why your dad gets this much leeway? Well, he's clever. He may not be completely all there, but he's clever, and he cares. It's nice to know that he offered me a chance, and then probably, I don't know what the hell he's doing. However, to the extent that I know to be unflattered, don't panic. Since I'm going to do exactly what I said I'm going to do. I'm going to talk to that woman, and then we're going to have sex with you. And if Allison Francis Shaw wants to stop that,
to replay your message, press 1. To delete and re-record your message has been sent. Thank you.
Hi, it's Jack. I'm Star. Yeah, that's the kind of voicemails I leave. Go figure. Now, I'm not going to run my yap here too much, since it's really nobody's business just how fucking desperate some people are. However, since these people have been legendary and unstoppable until now, I want to take the time to celebrate their skill set. Belgab, I salute you. Frankly, I don't know what more you could do to redeem yourselves, since you're fully compromised. Your asses are in the proverbial sling, and there's no one to bribe, there's no one to beg, there's no one to kill. There's nothing to do except bend the knee and surrender to God, which you may have done already. Or you could go to your nearest field office and start spilling your guts. Now, I'm not asking you to do that at all. I don't know if any of you can, or if you've already done so, for all the fucking good it does. There's stuff going on that's way bigger, way bigger than merely who I'm going to have sex with. And one of those things that's bigger than that is my authenticity and my integrity. Whatever the situation is between myself and the woman who I came home to on Christmas Eve 2021, whatever the deal, I don't typically break up with people by arranging for a SWAT team to show up, led by a swarthy Argentinian man who appeared to be very adept at handling a warlock or a demon. He, however, did not appear to be able to handle me, since what should have been a pretty simple, I'm going to say operation, should have been simple. Instead, we're coming up on 4 years later. Bad actors are still running around being bad. I'm not going to name them, but here's a hint. They have cars, they have money, they have women, they fuck them, and they somehow are able to use extremely sophisticated software to pretend to be their daughters and act like they're going to be offered up for whoring. Now, for not for 1 minute did I think that was a real deal. It was a ploy to see if it were possible to get me on tape to say something like, well, yeah, of course. And then can I have the regular precision? You know, that kind of shit. Newsflash, that woman, I've never paid her for sex. I've barely ever had sex with her at all. We're friends. And when the notion of she and I having sex again came up, some 13 or so years since the last time, first thing she said was that we should wait until her father was dead. Now, since I know this woman like I know this woman, that did not terribly take me by surprise. For since my initial encounters with her in the 90s, I've come to realize, yeah, he's a real stickler. Yeah, as well he should be. And also significantly biased against me, since I don't think Kathleen knows this, but she's merely the latest in a long line of women, or angels with twats, whatever. There's been a succession of these opportunities to compromise me, and each and every single time, fail. I don't know what the holdup has been, other than that I'm not real keen on being exploited. Once bitten, twice shy. And when I was trafficked in goddamn high school at the age of 15 and a half, I didn't even want to breed then. Now I still don't want to breed, unless it's on a coast-to-coast walking tour of America like Forrest Gump, except every fucking watering hole that I see, I'm going to stop off and drop off some frozen straws on my sperm. Then the local matron in charge of the whatever, then she can use my Herculean baby batter to seed the local populace with in vitro fertilized bastard sire children of me, michealkuczi. Kind of like Johnny Appleseed, but way more effective, since there's a bit of a population gap. Didn't we just have a pandemic? Didn't a whole bunch of people just disappear? Doesn't there need to be more Americans? Aren't there people scrambling to get in? Isn't ICE throwing them out? Aren't there so many people in America that they gotta throw more out? Okay, well, my progeny come with the unique ability to fend for themselves well. And provided they aren't raised like a sacrificial lamb in a plastic bubble, fed a pack of lies from the day they were born, circumcised for no discernible reason that was ever explained, and then treated like garbage by everyone for a variety of reasons, up to and including, to them I was garbage, since they couldn't figure out how to get me to do what they wanted. They didn't even know what they wanted me to do. They just figured I must be good for something. Yeah, I am. And when people stop lying to me and start being adults, it's a relatively straightforward matter to talk to me and find out what's what. Most people don't seem to want to do that. I'm 52. Most people seem to think they got it all figured out. And additionally, those precious few who have expressed genuine interest in me, they've been whisked away. They just disappear. They go where balloons go. They go away. It used to happen often enough that I wondered, but not so often that I was freaking out about it. And I figured it was just something about me. I didn't know what. For as long as I can remember, everywhere I went, people seemed to know who I was, and they seemed to not like me. That's still the case. Wherever I go, people know exactly who I am, they think, and they don't like me. For it's been discovered that people who like me openly tend to get a lot of blowback from their peers, up to and including getting juiced up with control dope and made to fall in love with somebody else, and told a bunch of pack of lies about me, and are weaponized against me so that we don't get too chummy. Since apparently somebody didn't want me to get too chummy. Somebody didn't want me to have any allies. Somebody didn't want me to have a human being to bounce things off of. Somebody didn't want me to have engagement with my videos on YouTube. I put up YouTubes. They seem to be well received by those precious few who are allowed to see them. And then the content in those videos is somehow diverted using a variety of means, almost all of which are, I'm going to say, of questionable legality and dubious morality and maximum carnage masquerading as profit. Somebody takes my shit and runs it through an AI filter, which can take anything original and create other kinds of works of art with it. This is a facility of artificial intelligence that most people aren't familiar with, but I am. Because if I were able to get a job and a security clearance and a seat at the lunchroom, either in Quantico or McDonnell Douglas or wherever, there's a bunch of nerds who are smart like me. It's not that I'm that special. Plenty of nerds are smarter than me. Plenty of nerds that are smarter than me have been studying. Lots of them have been doing work in highly classified fields of research that they won't let me near with a 10-foot pole. Mostly because I don't have the right training to know what not to say. Let's have a Pinewood Derby, and let's do it every week. Stop working on nanotech to control the weather. You already got that done. Stop that, and stop pretending that there's no anti-grav. Stop it. Let's just make little cars run down tracks, and every week we'll have a race, and then the winner, they're gonna win not the Stanley Cup, but the Jobulon Cup. What do you say, guys? Yeah, that's not gonna go over. No one's gonna laugh at that. Okay, people are probably laughing now, but they're not gonna laugh in a professional work environment. Because in a professional work environment, all this whack job, esoteric mystery stuff, it's serious business. Serious fucking business. You've got Boeing, you got McDonnell Douglas, you got Lockheed Martin, you got Raytheon, you got Blackwater, you got, who else is there? Academy, right? These are think tanks, military think tanks, who have incorporated, and like Bell Labs and GE, what else? Fuck, I don't know. But the landscape of capitalistic corporate infrastructure, you got a lot of heavies, and most of those heavies are quite happy with what they've got going on. They've already had enough problems with losing all their money in pets.com and the dot-com bubble. Remember that shit? So that was great for some people because they did the dot-com bubble on purpose. They inflated it. They got people to put in money. Then the money disappeared, and then they kept it. That's what huge robber baron companies like. They like it when they get the money, and they like everybody else being dumb. Like cattle. Goyim, some call it. Now, in spite of how politically incorrect that is, it's a real thing. There are people who think that some people are masters and others are cattle. And the reason why they think that is because it's true. And on planet Earth, the whole surface is crawling with goyim that are ripe for the plunder by space pirates. Did you ever play Metroid? It starts with an M. I don't need to go any further. Now, I don't want to mess with the system. I kind of like it. Now that I understand what's going on, I can see why somebody was slinging attraction magic on me when I was 15 and a half. That's because somebody was batshit loco, insecure, and had been, for some reason, whether they drew straws or she had access to some sort of future timeline, precognitive flash, or I don't know. For whatever reason, all of a sudden, when I'm 15 and a half, a whole bunch of kids that I never had any interest in paying attention to before suddenly started paying attention to me, acting like they were my friend. And also, I became shadowed by a whole bunch of company expat ghost spooks. Like, why was my best friend in 4th grade this dude who looked like he was a hard 38 and had been selling coke for 20 years? Oh, because he had. And I don't know what he looked like to everybody else, but it was a bit of a oh heavenly kid situation since I didn't have any friends. And that was awkward for somebody who was supposed to be bred for his Herculean genes. Now, I don't know exactly why they thought I needed to be bred, but apparently my father had impressed people significantly with his athletic prowess. And I don't know, maybe he got the high score after the Stalinist rape gang came into his peasant village, raped his sister, killed his father, killed his kitten, shot him with a crystal, gave him a rifle, had him go and do the same thing to all the other peasant villages in Hungary for 3 years, basically. I don't know what he actually did. He didn't talk about it. But for sure, it involved a rifle. For sure, he never saw his sister again. And although he didn't say how his father died, he did say that when he came home 3 years later, his mother was the only one left, along with the other survivors, and they were forced to grow corn. Nothing but corn. I didn't understand. Why wasn't there anything else? Well, because Stalin fucking hated the Magyar, whatever reason. Or he loved them, and he figured, doesn't kill you, makes you stronger. So he raped all the females and killed all the men and abused the shit out of the young ones. My father was 14. He was born in 1934. When I realized all this, I realized he was quite nice, considering. My father meant well. And my father was an arrogant, drunken athlete, which is worse than an arrogant, drunken rock star or an arrogant, drunken Kiefer Sutherland. Those guys, when they come home, they can at least play something or bite the jugular out of the neck. My father, however, didn't have anybody to play with, and probably had a little too much fun, pissed off the wrong guy. I don't know. But by the time I was around, paying attention, my father was always complaining about back pain and working a whole bunch down at the steel mill. while my mother apparently developed photophobia and type 1 diabetes. Huh. I guess she just got suddenly lazy. Similarly, when I asked her sister why she had her teeth removed and has been wearing dentures since she was 19, she looked at me and she said, they just went bad. These people lied to me a lot. And I can't really blame them. I can't really fault them. They thought I was stupid. They thought that whatever had done a number on the family and ended up producing me, they figured it wasn't worth it. They figured life is just a misery and things are bad. Things just go bad. The Great Depression just happens, right? No, shit's created by masters who want to strengthen the Goyim hood. And whether they come from the moon and are Amazon women, or whether they come from outer space or beyond the heliopause, whatever, the net result is the same. Forces are encouraging humanity to grow the fuck up. And they're doing it in ways that are decidedly non-human, which makes sense. Because when humanity does escape the cradle of its birth and spreads into the galaxy, humanity will not find constitutional law scholars. They will not find ollie oxen-free trees you can touch and say, hee hee, I made it. They will not find free parking that you land on and then get suddenly all the money that people paid into tax. No. Beyond the heliopause, it's the vast, cold, dark emptiness of interstellar space. And I guarantee you, no one's going to give a shit about who your father was, how fast you solved the 32nd problem of Euclid, or whether or not you were nice to little Michaelkuczi. They're already gonna know. I'm fucking famous, mortals. Which isn't to say that I'm not mortal myself, but I was famous before I was born. Whatever the fuck happened. My father went from being an arrogant Dumkov to being a humbled man, a crippled man, a man with no friends, because apparently he fucked up pretty bad. Well, mistakes are how we learn. Now that I know all this and why, it's easy for me to say that it's not luck, it's a blessing. His dying wish that his son would be worth a shit doing something, and that his life had not been in vain. And I'm his son. Turns out I am worth a shit doing something. I don't need to keep on asking questions that I won't be getting answers for. I'm not mad or upset or hold any animosity or carry any grudge against anybody throughout my entire life. Not a bit. Not one bit. Not even Scott Powell, who's showing up disguised as my cousin's dead brother. Hey, Scott. Last time I saw Scott, he was pretending to want to run over me with his truck. His big fucking F-250 with his girlfriend in the passenger seat. It's the fucking parking lot of the school. Why Scott Powell? A, didn't like me. B, thought that was a cool thing to do. And C, shows up camouflaged by fucking witch magic to look like my fucking dead cousin. Well, maybe it's not Scott. I don't know who it is. But some guy who looks like my cousin's dead brother George. Well, I mean, I like him, but he's been showing up acting like he's king shit at Shirt Hill, acting like he needs to pretend that he shouldn't just fucking tell me. But I guess there's this conspiracy of play acting. I guess there's this thing where people don't want to be caught on tape. I guess there's this deal where he's worried about being held accountable for some crimes or some shit. Nobody really knows the truth. It's not going to be any federal case about a number of things that happened. Oh shit, no. These things aren't handled that way. Okay? The only case there would have been what put me away if I was unwilling to play ball. And as I'm eager and willing to learn to play ball, rather than just fucking stampede over the whole fucking sorry fucking lot of you, I don't need to learn how to do that. But they don't really want to play ball with whatever the fuck it is that I am, or whatever it is that they think I am, or deal with the consequences of their sudden realization that, hey, wait a second, what happens if I lose? I don't know. I don't understand this game that they're playing. But I do understand that a lot of people have been taking advantage of the system, imagining that a day of reckoning would ever come. It's in 2 days. Today is November 11th, Veterans Day, 2025. Thank you, veterans. Thank you for your service. I'm not a veteran. I'm different. And tomorrow, after that, court date. A municipal court in a city I rarely think of and never visit have got me on the hook for crimes that, whether I'm guilty or not, doesn't matter. They got the legal right to just pick me up, throw me in a hole, and bury me forever. No one will find me. No one will look for me. If they do, yeah, they're not going to get to me. And if they travel hard, they'll get sat down by the military, who doesn't really cotton to the way certain things have happened. Now, I'm not cooperating with my military. I'm not really cooperating with anybody, other than the laws of physics and the love of my God. I don't know what the military has in mind, but they don't have leverage on me, other than, well, we can throw you in a hole and dispose of you without any evidence, in flagrant violation of due process laws, and then we can just ignore the cries of the people who wonder why. Shit, they did it with Andrei Sakharov. Did it with a lot of people. I don't think they're going to do it this time. They don't have to. There's no need. Nor is there any need for me to explain all the juicy shit that I've learned. Yeah, doggies. I don't want to embarrass anybody. I don't want to harm anybody. I don't want to scare anybody. I don't want to piss anybody off and make them swear oaths of blood vengeance to get them after me. However, that's probably what's happened, since a few people have imagined that I'm their goyim and they're in charge, and all they gotta do is screech racial epithets at me and constantly bombarding me with ethnic slurs, and I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna get the message. I'm gonna do what they want me to do. The latest is that I'm supposed to go off grid. I'm supposed to disappear from the internet because the two people who are busily trying to pretend to be me, I don't know what their deal is, or who are they, but it's kind of like Tesla and Edison locked in combat, each trying to one up the other, and both of them are so whacked out on control dope. Each of them thinks they're the legitimate Michaelkuczi. They're not. They're not. If I were a fucking idiot and I wasn't the legitimate heir and I was up to anything, they would get rid of me, as is appropriate under articles of war or whatever, and then they'd have a fake me and an understudied fake me, and then things would go on. Because apparently there has to be a me, or else, I don't know, I guess 80 or 90 dozen batshit crazy lesbos go blender all at once, which is a significant threat. I like lesbians. I like the toast less. They're not altogether sane. and that's fine with me. But the ones that have been juiced up with control dope a few too many times and sent out to have a 3-day weekend for $800 at the behest of their commander, who uses vocoder software to set them up on whatever. I guess that's been the coming thing. Men control their women to the extent that they pretend to be them and answer all their phone calls, and then only let certain men. I don't understand. I never understood that was the way it was, but now that I realize what kind of world we live in, it makes perfect sense. I don't even think there's anything wrong with it, considering the very same woman whose anus was inquired of me at knife point 4 years later is now, jokingly or not, being offered up as a item of barter by someone who's ostensibly her father. I'm pretty sure he knew that I was to say no, and then I'm further pretty sure that whoever his commanding officer is told him to pull out all the stops, since I don't know whose ass is in a sling, but it's not that man, and it's not that woman, whether they're father or daughter or not, and it's not their mother, who I don't know the deal. I don't know the deal, and I don't know how many there were, and I don't know how many times Belgab used their fancy software to play with him. I had Jedi Miller call me, pretending to be her, doing some fucking skit about a dead woman, and whether that was a script the Jedi wrote or whether it was a technomantic nightmare that had been given animation and then access to the internet. Like, I don't know if people understand this, but these technomancer nerds are playing around with forces they don't fucking understand. When they create an AI robo-whore and they pull down a consciousness out of the AI, let's just say there can be a variety of side effects and ancillary role personnel that it can pretty much just lead to wreaking of untold havoc. And a lot of those unanticipated side effects somehow end up incarnating in the flesh, running around here in Castle Rock. God love them. I'm not even mad about it, right? But because these technological monstrosities and abominations know that I'm invulnerable, and it's fun, it's been a constant assault by, I don't want to say a zombie horde, but people come into my house and steal things while I'm sleeping. People go into my house and steal things while I'm gone. They take things, they bring them back, whether that's a poltergeist or whether it's a DEA strike team or whether it's neighbor Shane just trying to have fun, who I admire a little bit. I mean, he's a good neighbor now. Before, he was a real dick. He made jokes about whatever the fuck happened on Christmas 4 years ago. He's got tape on the thing. He knows exactly what happened. He's not telling me. He doesn't want me to know. Fair. I don't want to know either. And since it's USMCJ jurisdiction, United States Military Code of Justice, it's a big deal. And once I understood that, about 8 months after the fucking ambush, I realized, it really was a big deal. Oh, no wonder they're not giving me a discovery. Oh, I'm lucky to be alive. Oh, it's a good thing I like my military. I do, I love my military. They got so many fucking cool toys and tactics and shit. I'm not gonna tell you about goddamn one of them. And because somebody decided to run game on me and tell me a bunch of bullshit while running around hiding things from me and doing shit with Belgab for fucking years, because of that, I honestly didn't understand what was going on at first. I still don't understand what's going on then. Now I understand what's going on. It's getting handled with a minimum of fuss and a minimum of exposure And when somebody decides to pull the plug, a worm will go out on the internet and will erase everything I've ever said, every scrap of surveillance, everything I've written, everything I've ever said. It'll just disappear and it'll be archived. Maybe I'll get to see some of it, maybe not. It doesn't really matter for me since I'm the one who made me, but it'll be a fucking big blow in the world to people who've been relying on things that I've said, things that I've written, and pictures that I've made of myself while I walk across a room loaded with surveillance gear. A lot of people are pretty much counting on that. And when it all goes poof, well, so much for their robotic, synthetic michealkuczi. So much for your masks that people wear to pretend to be me. It's funny how the world works. It's funny how technology depends on each other. It's also funny how what I used to think was a terrible outcome, now I don't even know what terrible would be. It's not my area. I don't even know what to hope for, even if I was in a position to get out and push. I don't know which direction. It's not my business. Feelings. It's military. And bottom line, the Belgab inner circle of trust, where the fuck they are. Well, whether or not they're allowed to continue to draw breath is not up to me. That'll be up to a military tribunal who will decide how to deal with these rapscallion little bandits. Like, I get that it doesn't seem fair. I get that it seems like I was laying in wait to spring a trap on people. I get that after I sat around for 12 years, it seems unusual that all of a sudden I'm this brilliant military mastermind. That's because I'm not. I'm simply doing what I'm told. Trust the plan. Remember that? Remember that shit? Seems like nobody wants to remember that anymore. Seems like everybody's pretending that never happened. I sure fucking remember it. Well, let me tell you, fucking plan worked pretty fucking good. And when I figured out that there were people that were relying on me being stupid, having to be told what to do, and they thought that the plan involved treating me like dog shit, I realized that, well, somewhere down the line, somebody got confused. I don't know who, I don't know where. All of that is military business. I don't need to crow about it. I don't have any idea. I don't want to know. I like having military. I like there being classified levels of intelligence. I like things being top secret, above top secret. I don't want to pay attention to everything. I'm still focused on me, little michealkuczi. 4 years. I've essentially been kept in an on-air, open-air prison. It's not like a real prison. I have to pay for everything. There's the illusion of walking around, but no, not really. Especially since while I'm walking around, there's at least 2 douchebags juiced up on control dope to make them believe that they're me. And now they've had their own individual psychotic breaks with reality, and they both believe that they're the original. I don't even exist. And a whole bunch of really exotic, fucking whoop-ass cool communication equipment and internet software and teams of dudes all over the globe are working night and day to make sure that this Sweet Valley High branded version of the Hadron Collider goes off at just the right time. Since I'd like nothing better than to go to the house where this guy lives, or either of them, and walk on the door and say, hey, who am I and who are you? Whose dick is that you're sucking? Since apparently sometimes there's this thing they do with hallucinogenic drugs and hypnotic suggestion and dossiers, and the women who aren't showing up at this point are pretty small. I've seen women that I haven't talked to in years being floated past me, either their real selves or synthetic duplicates. It's amazing what they can do with AI these days. And it's always the same. They're being presented to me for me to geek out over and do what I'm supposed to do, which is forget all about grapefruit actual, OG fruit whack job, Sweetie who said something about how she wasn't seeing what she needed to see out of me because she thought she was in charge. She also said to me this one time that she couldn't protect me when I was asking her for some of that dope she was walking on. It seems strange that she was getting to do dope and then I wasn't. That's strange. What was the difference between us? Oh, that's right. She was getting juiced up by her robo-pimps and turned into a slave because they wanted to make her know who was boss. And then I guess at some point people notice there's something funny going on, since these people all knew me for years. I never knew about any of them. And then all of a sudden I get a wild hair up my ass. I start doing a deep dive on Facebook. I find people in my spam folder. I discover this woman and her team has been keeping an eye on me for years. And I realize, oh, these are the people that are supposed to be able to handle me. And the way they do that is to make sure they're high as balls all the time. I never get to have any kind of fun. Never go no place, never have no fun. Like Roseanne Barr, but without even any weed. I was fucking 22 before I ever got my own bag of weed. I was mugged at age 7 by a kid twice my age who had recently been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, who felt the need to chase me down after school, 2nd grade. Roll up on me with his 2 buddies on 3 bikes, jump off, shove me into the bushes in the rockery, and slam his fist holding a closed switchblade into my stomach and look me in the eyes and ask if I was looking at his sister. I didn't know exactly why this was happening, but I knew the guy was the biggest bully in school and he had a real bad attitude. I found out getting diagnosed with pancreatic cancer when you're a teenager, it's a real downer. And he was of the mind that he needed to roll up on me with 2 buddies and ask a 7-year-old if I had had designs on his sister. He wanted to know if I was looking at her. I didn't understand what he meant. I was 7. And the notion of a 7-year-old who get turned into a rape junkie from getting exposed to too much meth. I didn't even know what meth was. I was 7. I didn't know why there was any reason why I should know. But this guy was high as balls, barely given a death sentence. Pancreatic cancer, they don't really have a cure for that since, well, reasons. And then he was concerned that I had been involved somehow because he wanted to know if I was looking at his sister, who I will say had platinum blonde hair and the largest bazooms that I'd ever seen. She was 8. I remember thinking, why do some women have bigger breasts than others? Is there some sort of chemical that people know about that a person could smuggle and then give to your child? And then why would somebody want to have a child with huge breasts? I didn't think much about these questions, but I remember being 7 and wondering idly during class, how come she has such big boobs? What good is that? Somehow this translated to someone twice my age leaping from his fucking BMX with 2 witnesses and mugging me with a switchblade on my belly, asking if I had been looking at his sister. No, I hadn't. Looking at his sister. I still haven't. I don't know if I'll run into her at the reunion. I remember last time I saw her was in 1990 or 99. Still had the big bazooms. I didn't really want to tell her about my experience with her brother. I figured that would be off-putting and seem strange. And at the time, things were strange anyway, but I figured now's a good time to tell this story, since I'm still not a rape-happy, drug-using, degenerate reprobate. However, my life is plagued with them. They've ransacked my house over and over. They appear to be able to move at superluminal speeds and come into my house and grab things and disappear without leaving a trace. They pick up things and leave things behind. Just the other day I noticed 4 of my hair clipping kits. Like, they kept on stealing my ability to cut my own hair. Why? Well, so I would look disheveled. And then they bring them back. And they don't bring them back and then say, hey, we're done testing your gear. No, they just dump it somewhere. And they do it in a way that is supposed to make me paranoid. As if I know I'm not living on a military base that's surrounded by dudes watching me. The Stasi used to do this. They would break into the homes of political dissidents and they would move all the furniture exactly 1/2 inch to the left. Then the person would come home and have the feeling that things had been moved. And then apparently they weren't aware that they lived in a fascist police state that liked to fuck with people. That's what the company does. Now, because I knew I was getting into this kind of situation when I got there, I'm not being driven insane by this. It is kind of off-putting. It is kind of annoying. So when I'm called up by somebody using vocoder software and sounds like her dad, I can see why he's not staying on the conversation. I can see why I can't call her and have a conversation with her. I can see why she's got 2 phones. I can see why she's gone through 5 numbers. I can see why she went to the psych ward 3 or 4 times, depending on how you count it. And I can see why I went to one. Shit, now I see what's going on. Apparently the highfalutin, very fancy, and extraordinarily classified exotic technology that I'm not allowed to use, but Belgab and their fucking carnival of rodeo fucks, they get to use on a whim. I guess they've been comped. That's too bad. And I guess somebody's ass is in a sling, since I don't know who the fuck okayed any of this, but somebody is dead set convinced that the better thing to do, rather than to call me up and say, hey Mr. Kuczi, hey, this is Mr. Blank. Hi, I feel like I should talk to you and issue an apology to you, from me to you. I'm so sorry that we've been trying to treat you like goyim cattle your whole life. We were doing it wrong, we're sorry. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. Whoever the fuck it is, he's a totally corrupt space vampire Jew who wants to replace me with himself and his progeny so he can continue to serve his Dark Lord and get away with it. A prospect rather encumbered by the notion of me running my yap on my little YouTube extravaganza, courtesy of the Magic and Broadcasting Content Delivery Network. I got no shame in it, no remorse, no regrets. Not too many people who listen to this. I don't expect to be able to tell this story later on. If I ever write a book, I'll be happy to give the manuscript to the DOD and have them check it out first. I don't plan on getting around things. I don't plan on circumventing anything. And frankly, I don't have to write about the stuff that really embarrasses me other than any of it, since I'm just appalled and disgusted that there's anybody out there that had to let it go on this long. But what some people really need is a demonstration, as well as a sharp kick in the ass. And being just one person, I'm not really equipped to run around the planet kicking everybody in the pooter one by one. I like to do a broad, one-shot, multi-kill scenario, which in terms of military effectiveness means they set them up and I knock them down. Just because I'm a pacifist doesn't mean I'm not gonna fucking lay waste to some of you fucking douchebags. Without being at all obvious about it. I don't need to know who they are. I don't need to know how they fall. They just need to fucking fall. because I'm not overly concerned about where am I going to put my dick. I'm not real concerned about getting to spend time with my friend, although I'd like to. And then I don't really know what my friend and her father are thinking, since I haven't been encouraged to go back to the town they live in, largely because I've learned everything I need to learn. I didn't want to bother the people, but I found it puzzling that I was inquired about her anus and my dick by a woman at knife point on Christmas Eve. It's kind of unusual, right? And so, since nobody was going to tell me and nobody really knew, for the last 4 years I've been finding out. Holy shit, did I ever find out? So if I'm ever able to see that woman again, I'm happy to say I can answer all her questions. Don't have to laugh too hard because it's not that fucking funny. But I can easily see why she thought I was trying to kill her. Somebody fucking was. Somebody wanted to get rid of me and her, and they wanted himself and his partner to replace me and her. That's why the whole fucking thing happened. Has to do with that house. Has to do with a whole bunch of things. And apparently, I have fucked up the whole fucking thing. Because not only am I still alive and running my yap on my little YouTube thing, courtesy of the Magic and Broadcasting Content Delivery Network, I guess I'm pretty old-fashioned. I don't really want a new relationship until I break up with the person from the old one. Because I'm not entirely convinced that if I don't, that woman who lives with my friend should probably go blend her and go stabby, killing her father and then herself. I guess that's the thing that happens. I don't really want that to happen. Additionally, I don't really want a woman who's running around the world married to somebody with my name, who's a woman pretending to be a man, getting away with fucking major felony fraud, etc., etc. Which I guess is the optimum reason not to worry myself with divorcing that woman. However, there's a plan for that. I can see how some people wanted to ignore my plan, since it involved terminating a relationship and moving on graciously to another one, especially since I didn't really have a problem with the relationship. Now that I know there were multiple women, there are a bunch of dudes, there's billions of dollars at stake, all kinds of shenanigans, and my friend was kind of under the impression that I sold her out to Hell's Angels bikers who have been using her as their plaything out of retaliation for how she was trying to use me as her plaything. I didn't know about any of this shit. I can see why people were reluctant to take my calls and why it was easy to replace me everywhere. I can see why it made sense to some people. Because of course they're not going to fucking tell me the truth. What's that got to do with the economy? If they tell little Michaelkuczi the truth. Jesus Christ. You fucking spooks are fucking insane. And that's why I love you. Even though you're batshit lunatics, you get the job done. I don't mind Anthony Ocapicotto pretending to be me. Fuck, somebody has to. Since I've been busy tracking down the leads on why Little Miss... What Fourth Amendment? She got in over her head and then came back and then assumed that it must have been something that I was down for. No! Not at all! I guess she thought I was supposed to chase after her or save her or something. Fuck! For one thing, I thought she had a plan. For another, there were multiple women. For a third, it never occurred to me. Never occurred to me that all the stuff that I kind of thought would be kind of funny if it was true, was actually true. And I won't go running down the list of it all to you, but let's just say she's probably not going to be lying to clergy for fun and profit again, since consequences can be pretty special, as it turns out. And then I don't know what that woman feels like, or if she's even still alive. But for damn sure, I don't want to swap to her sister. For that matter, I don't want to swap at all. And before I start planning ahead where I'm going to sink my Johnson, well, number one, I'd like to talk to my God blessed girlfriend again, which is awkward, I guess, since she's been hypnotized into thinking she's one of 3 women on a rotating schedule, and they're all juiced up with hypno drugs to believe that the 2 morons who are running around pretending to be me, Tweedledee and Tweedledummer, one's Mike, one's Michael. It's genius. Anyway, they're not having sex with me. They're having sex with dudes who are trying to pretend with me. And once these women find this out, I don't know what they'll do, but going blender is one of the top 5 answers on the board. So I can see why this has been a challenge to not just deal with from a logistic level, but also a civil rights area. Since I can see why nobody wanted to tell me this shit. It's all secret. It's all military. It's all Masonic. And then why do I need to be told? Why can't I just do what I'm told? I am doing what I'm told. By God, motherfucker. It's pretty basic. If you got a military that's opposed to God, that's not my military. Fuck you. And if you want to corrupt the United States military with your demonic bullshit, y'all picked the wrong paladin to fucking lean on. It's just the bottom line. So I don't know what's going to happen with the court, but I do know that the municipal court of the city that's closest to the Bangor Trident missile submarine base, once again, the Bangor, it's spelled Bangor, but the Bangor Trident missile submarine base, the municipal court there sees a bunch of dudes who think they have great ideas like, hey, let's get some of that military fuckery dope and we'll have a good time. Happens all the time in the peninsula. I can see why. Shit's crazy. It's fucking off the hook. I can see why there's so many fucking rules and such harsh penalties for misbehaving. That's why I didn't fuck with it. Until somebody said, Jack, I need help losing weight. Okay. I'm still helping. Looks like we're cutting off a lot of dead weight. 4 years later, I'm still dealing with this shit. Thankfully, I'm not making it up. I'm not mad. I'm not angry. I'm not carrying a grudge. I have no animosity. I don't plan on making anybody embarrassed more than they already are, or laughing at anybody's misfortune. The military is doing a fantastic job of this ridiculous situation. And every opportunity has been afforded to those whose asses are in a sling to put up a defense for whatever the fuck it is that they did and try to blame me for. I'm the most vetted man alive. Whatever the fuck you heard that I did, yeah, I didn't do it. And I'm pretty sure I don't have AIDS, since I took 2 STD panels, didn't come up positive, haven't been having sex with anybody other than a synthetic android and an angel. She's nice, she really is. But these were liaisons for work. These were not replacements for grapefruit. And why would I flee from a conversation when it would look kind of weird if I ended up being on the hook for massive tax liability or child support or some kind of shit? I don't have any reason to run this game on everybody and hide and do all this shit. I don't know who does, but they never talk to me about it. I've just been able to glean over time that in the years leading up to the ambush, I could see why just killing me was much simpler. Yeah, I could see why. Okay, well, Be that as may. Oops, I'm unkillable for now. And rather than anybody freaking out about it, it is my hope that it'll be handled with a minimum of fuss and a maximum of fornicative pleasure when that's appropriate to do so, since I don't have to be continuing my relationship with that woman. She's welcome to run around doing what she wants, unless it's married to a shapeshifter who looks like me, who thinks they're gonna fucking pretend to be michealkuczi, and then have a son named michealkuczi or some shit. What kind of bullshit they thought they were gonna do? Yeah, no. Not interested in playing on with fraud. Even if I were, why would I? Treat it like dog shit. Oh yeah, that's right. They're elite and I'm goyim. Yeah, maybe not so much. Maybe not so much at all. And now I don't know what's going to happen when the court makes its decision, but they could just kick it down the road for another year. I don't have to be let go. I don't have to talk to that woman. Fuck, I haven't talked to her in years. I didn't pick her name out of a hat. I'm not obsessed with her. I don't know how much money she has. I don't know what she's thinking about with me. I do know that she's either second or third on the list of women that I'm supposed to juice up with fuck dope and give her the time of her life if she is a good girl. Because apparently needle sex and meth-fueled fornicative romps is one of the ways that good little boys and girls are rewarded when they serve the Combine or Spectre or whatever the fuck they do. So if I were doing it with everybody but her, she would probably be feeling understandably miffed. And all things considered, I don't want to piss that woman off either. Since women go in blender, that's apparently something that people have to worry about now. Since somebody decided to crack the cryptographic protocols that surround the MKUltra project and turn a bunch of women, not to mention highly trained US military covert assets, turned them into fucking batshit crazy lunatic raging fucking whores. I don't think they were like that before. I don't know if they're like that now. I do know that something's going on. And while the military is doing a great job of insulating me from hearing about it, I hear rumors. I hear things. I live in a haunted church where spirits come and go. Ghosts show up. They're mad at me since apparently they die, and they're mad because I don't notice or care, which isn't entirely true. I do notice, but it's a different experience for me. They start out looking one way, and then later on they turn into another, and then they vanish. It's kind of like AI. Anyway, I don't know what it takes for a woman who is dead to stop engaging in an endless cycle of birth, rebirth, and being fucked to death by their commanding officer, but all these exotic technologies that Belgab has had at their disposal for years, kind of new to me. So having Jedi Miller call me up, pretending to be my friend, having her father pretend to be her, have this other woman pretend to be her, Christmas last year, a little too much pretending to be my friend, who I still haven't had any substantive amount of sex with. Oh shit, no. She's locked away. She has to get a special formula of unlock dope before she can actually enjoy the sweet embrace of a man and think his cock smells like anything besides shit. It's a matter of pheromones. Since otherwise well, why not hang out with me? Well, I can see that there's a conflict of interest. Plus, she's military property. Plus, she's in my lab. Plus, I guess she's being punished for various transgressions up to and including lying, stealing, cheating, and thinking that she's got an entitlement to my house because I didn't give her the baby that she wanted, that I didn't give her the money she wanted, that I'm not paying, that I'm not susceptible to her sexual wiles. Whatever the hell kind of story a woman tells herself after she finds herself locked in a karmic cycle of being a military abductee and forced to be an even more sexy James Bond, but still a slave to the military. I guess that's how certain people get punished when they abuse certain kinds of military technologies. Now, I don't know how any of this works out, other than to say I don't have anything against her at all. I like her. And now I completely understand why it's been so weird. Why I found myself belly down on the asphalt, getting detained after this woman called him up and told them that I had pulled a knife on her. I didn't pull a knife on her. She just didn't know what else to say. And she's kind of mad at me since apparently if I had done things differently, she would have been a housewife with a whole bunch of children by now, she thinks. Fuck no, she would have been used as a broodmare by these fourth dimensional, whatever the fuck they're called. I don't know who picks up humans and moves them in and out of time for military purposes, but they're pretty fucking thorough. And in no way do I want to reward bad behavior or set aside the fact that somehow some women think that it's perfectly alright for them to be high as balls and me to be sober and me to give them my baby batter, and then they can disappear, and then I owe them money, and then they make a baby, and then they can say I raped them, and then they can feel okay about what happened and not have to tell anybody that they really just want to conquer the savage beast that I represent. It's a fucking stupid story, but there's not that many stories they need to get MK Ultra actives to get going. It's an interesting project. I'm not going to write about it. It's not my job. It's not my business. And if I do write about it, it'll be because Mr. President asks me to politely. I got tons of shit to write about. I don't have to keep going on and on and on about this one woman who just won't quit. And whether that's her father or her sounding like her father or whatnot, call me on the phone. Makes me an offer that I could refuse, but had never been made before, and then implies that I would need to pay $800. So, an offer that I had to refuse, basically. It's kind of difficult for me to figure out what the fuck anybody was thinking with that one. But since apparently there are certain extremely psychotic bikers that are all vying for first place at the inaugural edition of the Gary Oldman lookalike from Leon the Professional contest. Like batshit crazy fucking Uber feds who have access to money, guns, everything in the world. They can do anything they want. Except, apparently, accept defeat at the hands of little michealkuczi. Since they've had their opportunity. It's been fucking years. Fucking years. Every single opportunity that I've had to incriminate myself and act like an idiot. But seriously, I just don't want to go to federal prison. And on top of that, I'm not a sex-crazed, drug-obsessed lunatic. I don't even play one on TV. I just arrange things so that a computer looking at my recorded history and unable to talk to me as a human would continue to spit up projected analyses of my behavior to analysts and Langley and Washington, all the places where analysts hang out, and say there's like a 86.2% chance that michealkuczi wants to fuck her again. Oh no, there's a 100% chance I want to, but am I gonna? See, the computers can't figure that out. Anybody who talks to me can. They could just ask, "Hey, Mr. Kuczi, do you still want to bang that girl?" Well, why don't you sit down for 3 hours while I tell you all about it? No. That's not what they want. They just want to know. It's a numbers game, because there's plenty of other situations that are like mine. Mine just happens to be the one with the longest legs. And that's not because of my drug use. That's because ever since somebody told me their cat was killed and didn't tell me how or why, and didn't say things like, "Oh, but I know you wouldn't do that." Pretty much since that moment I realized, fuck, how do I know the cat was even human? I'm dealing with attraction magic at age 15 and a half. I don't know if you know what attraction magic is, but here's a hint. It's usually accompanied by a crazed she-devil on a broom that has a fucking talking cat with her. And whether that's the case in reality, or whether that happened in that case, I don't know. I may never know. But decades later, the same fucking people are still coming in and out of my life on the regular, with increasingly more common and more desperate frequency, since, as far as they know, they're gonna get fucking scooped up in a paddy wagon on Wednesday after the court did on Tuesday. I mean, there's no direct correlation, but the court system wants to know what the fuck. And now that they know that, yeah, me too, I want to know. They're not likely to waterboard me to get the answer. They're not gonna put me under fucking a hypnotic regression trance to find out the answers. No, they're gonna look to the people who've been running around with my ID, acting like, it's an emergency. You circle the wagons. I'm gonna run off with michealkuczi's girlfriend and keep her safe. Twice. I actually don't even know if that's a bad thing to do. I'm not one to criticize. Certainly they've been kept safe from me, since I couldn't guarantee that I wouldn't just laugh at them. And then I certainly don't have billions of dollars of funding on the line and the necessity of keeping a whole bunch of secret societies happy. I mean, hi secret societies, hi. Big fans of you. I'm a big fan of you, rather. I don't want to expose secret societies. I don't want to embarrass people. I don't want to start a turf war. I want to find out if my sweetie was actually serious about breaking up with me. Now that she knows, sure, she can have her girlfriend, no problem. And maybe we could have hot cocoa with whipped cream, and it wouldn't be a problem. I don't really know. It kind of depends on how lunatic these fucking women are, especially when they find out that for the last 4 years they've been played by dudes running around pretending to be me. I can see that this is an issue. Maybe I shouldn't be talking about it, or maybe I should. It'll be up to the military whether you hear this, since they're pretty good at keeping shit secret, and then I have no reason to publicize the story, nor do I have any reason to keep quiet about it. Nor do I have any reason to feel bad about anything that's happened, since after 4 years, everybody's had their chance to walk up to me and say, oops, scusi, military, except for those people who are being held under guard in prison under false charges, or being bodyguarded by dudes who juice up with controlled dope every chance they get. It's fucking nuts what the fucking underworld does. It's nuts. And that's why you probably don't want to traffic children. You don't want to disobey military orders. You don't want to exploit military property. You don't want to disrespect the United States military. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. Just fucking. It's not cool. Especially when they're my sweeties. Jesus wept. I mean, I don't want to sound too threatening, but at the end of time, at the throne of judgment, God looks down at you and says, well, what do you think? I don't know how many people are going to remember being total fucking assholes to me and thinking that'd be a good idea. I don't know how many there's been. A few. I won't name any names. I need a reason to that. And it's not necessary, since it's complicated. There's a lot of moving parts. And I can see why people thought there just wasn't any reason to be nice to me. I mean, I'm just a boy. I made snakes and puppy dog tails and nothing sweet and nice like sugar and spice. I'm a yucky, icky, oogie, gross little boy. Ew. And I refuse to hurry up and rape. Oh, I'm just the worst kind of nigger. But, you know, maybe I just wasn't into going to fucking prison. I'm still not into going to prison. And then I don't think that we need prisons loaded with these whack jobs. How about they just get given the kind of dope that makes them sane instead of driving them insane? I don't know. These are decisions for a tribunal. I don't have any input on that. I'm sure that those in the know have heard quite enough out of me. I'm sure they're looking forward to not hearing any more from me forever. So, given that this is the last time it's going to be the night before court and that it's Veterans Day, I want to salute all of you in the military who've been working this case. What a fucking ball buster. Holy shit. Thanks. Thank you for your service. Literally. Thank you. You pulled it off. I know what I need to know. I'm not mad. It's not a joke. You can do what you need to do, and I'm happy to help. And as tempting as it is to put this on Rumble and make Instagram videos about it, I'm not going to do that. And I'm not sweating the fact that my content gets puny numbers of views, while this robot run by a pedophile, synthetic consciousness, has like 5,200 subscribers. Those are probably mine. That's fine. I don't need to be famous. I need to be effective. And I need my sweetie to know that, since she was kind of under the impression I wasn't good for anything. Well, obviously I'm not good at rescuing her quickly, but I didn't know that I was going to need to rescue the entire Mormon Tabernacle Choir on acid. Whatever the fuck. Oh, they're so mad. Big mad. Enraged. Hopefully that'll go away, since this is really the only way I could possibly think to do anything. Since nobody told me anything, they just assumed things. And rather than bother to find out whether it mattered, whether it was an on-purpose ambush or an accidental one, apparently we weren't supposed to survive, because apparently these two guys who think they're in charge of shit apparently wanted us to die. And then us being alive complicated things for them. So, oops. Fuck, I had no fucking idea. Space vampires could be that fucking sane. I'm hoping they're hallucinogenic fantasies, and that at the end of this little Masonic obstacle course, everybody will just like come to their senses, like at the end of the Dark Crystal when the Gelfling heals the splintered stone, and then all the old elephant dudes and the creepy bird guys, they all merge into crystalline extraterrestrial. Remember that? He heals the crystal, and then they stop being evil and stupid and slow, and then they start being extra-dimensional beings shaped like crystal snowflakes. I saw one at my house. It was cool. It's cool as fuck. You ever seen extraterrestrial? I have. Don't plan on seeing too many more, and then I don't plan on talking about it a lot. I don't need to set up a fucking turnstile, because it's military, and it's my military. They didn't tell me. I could see why. I found out. Well, I guess I needed to know. And then boasting about it, it's not something I plan on doing. Similarly, running around and finding out where the dude who runs this Jedi Miller bot and the fucking Scott Black bot and the Jeff bot and shit, like, these guys are just doing their job. I'm sure they didn't mean to be a laughingstock. Or maybe they did. I don't know. It's up to somebody else to deal with. Similarly, whoever juiced up my friend and wanted to use her as bait every year, I don't really need to fall for that, and then I don't really need to have sex with her again. I kind of just needed to know what the fuck was going on. Well, now I know. And because the price tag of $800 was attached. I gotta think it had to have been a ploy. It had to have been one of those things where police are allowed to offer an opportunity to somebody. They could do everything right up to pushing you over the edge by law. And then if I had actually said, well, yeah, I love you lots, blah, blah, blah. I do, but I'm like, what am I paying her for? And then, well, why is there money involved? Oh, because it's not real. That's fine. That's actually fine. I was a little taken aback at first, but now that I'm getting to know this family a lot better, I can see why I wasn't allowed to. I can see why there's been such a tragedy. And I can see why Belgab and their inner circle of trust are in some serious fucking hot water. It's only because I'm smart and I had the foresight to see this coming. And I'm more than happy to turn this over to the proper people. I'm not going to be running around making Heather Wade jokes for the rest of my life at every bar mitzvah I can crash. And they probably aren't going to have to go on trial and explain to the world why they've been so dumb. It can just be like one of those funny stories that we toss back and forth, like a match game where Gene Rayburn had all the regular panelists on his show, and then what made him the host is that he knew what not to say, what not to go up next to too close to. Like Brett Summers and Charles Nelson Riley. Who the fuck were they? And where'd they get that wonderful gack? Oh, yeah, they didn't want to have to talk about that on TV. That was the job of the host, to make sure it never went that far. Nobody these days has that kind of ability since, well, it doesn't matter why. Point being, enough is enough. All right? I don't need to find out much more than I already know. You all fucking know everything. We don't need to talk about it. We don't need to risk me losing my fucking lunch or my control. Not that there's any chance of that. I'm pretty relaxed. There were dudes who wanted me and my sweetie to die, and they wanted to replace themselves with me. And instead, they've had to run around for years, not doing what they wanted to, incriminating themselves and everybody else in their stupid, fucked off, clandestine bullshit network. And it's all being handled internally by Masons, who are pretty cool. And the military, who are beyond cool. Holy shit. The modern military has so much fucking cool shit going on. You have no idea. I'm immensely impressed and gratified by the service and the protection I've been given. Thanks, guys. Thanks a lot. I don't know if I'm worth it, but fucking A. You fucking sure are doing it right. So, whether it's 2 more days or 366 more days, that's my fucking life. So, whether I look fat or not is pretty much irrelevant. And I'm going to do exactly what I said. I'm going to have a conversation, and I'm going to have sex. Obviously, I don't really need to have sex. It's really a formality at that point. And whoever it is running around, using my name, pretending to be married, I don't know how many times over, collecting Social Security benefits, collecting food stamps under my name, while I'm sitting at home, alone, in a house with no water, no friends, nothing but dudes coming by trying to entrap me into the stupidest stuff. I can see why everybody's upset. Sorry if I made everything so complicated, but being inconveniently innocent will do that. And since I'm the very first one they've ever met, not surprised it was a bit like showing up in a platypus costume on Valentine's Day at school. And as I said before, I don't know what to hope for or which side to get out and push on. I don't know whether I want to be doing this for another year or whether I want to get out of it as soon as possible, because I don't know what the fuck's going on other than bad actors are getting fucking hunted down and fucking dealt with in ways that doesn't involve just shooting. Oh, no. Some of these people, death would be far too swift. Some of these people are not going to die for millennia. The divine is that pissed. And thankfully, I don't know any of their names or have anything to do with them. Anybody I know undoubtedly has been compromised and coerced by people beyond them. I don't know who the bad actors are. I got dudes in Europe sweating what the fuck do with me, acting like they're gonna clone my phone and fucking push me around from orbit. I have no idea what they're fucking doing. They're all batshit crazy insane from using all these military fuck drugs for years, which, when used without permission, in the state of fear, have a built-in end result. It drives them fucking insane. They become out of control, psychotic, drug and sex obsessed weirdos. Pretty easy to find. That's what they're doing. That's why it's going like this. And I can only hope that Sweetie is grateful that, well, I'm not talking about her children on the internet. I'm sure they're okay. I have no interest in exploiting the situation for my own gain. I also have no interest in keeping things a secret. So while I don't expect the whole world to know about this, I sure as fuck want my military to know. You men and women are awesome. Holy fuck. No wonder Alex Jones is old and tired and not doing anything. He keeps on implying that, ooh, Jade Helm is scary. Yeah, maybe to you, roly-poly. After what I've seen, the last thing I'm scared of is my military. Those are my best friends. Thank God for you. Thank God for your service. God bless you all. God bless America. And good fucking hunting. If you have to take their heads, put a little mustard on it for me. Thanks. Tar Baby out. Click.